Hey guys, it's Alex from 7th Hour Films, and today I'm going to be giving you a review of the first season of Castlevania. It's probably a bit late to be talking about this, but whatever. Sometimes I'm late on talking about things, so. Castlevania, based on the popular video game series. So let's just dive right into the story. The story takes place in the 1400s in the country of Wallachia, I think. I think that's what it's called. Not entirely sure how you pronounce that. Oop, messed up my hair a little bit. We're all good for the most part. Alright, good enough. So the story begins with Vlad Tepes the Impaler, also known as Count Dracula. He's Dracula. You pretty much know everything you need to know about Dracula. Especially when you bring in the context of that he's also Vlad Tepes the Impaler. If you know your history about Vlad, you can sort of combine what you know about the Impaler as well as Dracula. Sort of combine that in, you get Dracula in this show. So he's just, doing Dracula things, being creepy, hiding around in the dark, and this woman comes up to his castle, this woman named Lisa, and she says that she wants to learn science, and generally when she tells people that she wants to learn science, she is deemed a witch. So the only person that will not call her a witch is Dracula, which is interesting. But it turns out that it's good that he doesn't consider her a witch because Dracula is apparently a man of science. He takes her pretty much to his laboratory where... Excuse me. Sorry. Problem with my lip. We should all be good now. He has this grand library in his castle, and he starts to kind of like Lisa. So much so that they get married. Wow, that's great. Bit of a problem, though. Cut ahead to the future. We're in the 1470s now, and Lisa Tepes now is being burned at the stake by the church for being a witch. Kind of a problem. So Dracula goes, unleashes hell pretty much. Well, almost unleashes hell. He has this big display of fire and power, and he says to the people of Greenwich, I think is the name of the town specifically that they're in. He basically says you have 1 year to get rid of every mark you've left on this world and make your peace before I come and kill you, basically. And, sure enough, 1 year later, the people have not done anything. They haven't made their peace. They haven't gotten rid of anything they've created. The church isn't backing down from... the church isn't going to put up with Dracula's crap, and Dracula says, okay then, I'm going to kill you. That's exactly what he does. He unleashes monsters that only come out at night. The church ends up blaming a group called the Speakers. These people, kind of hard to explain. They're kind of like this group of people that pass down history through oral tradition. They don't write anything down, but some are magic users. I didn't quite understand everything about them, but that's alright. They didn't explain a whole lot about the Speakers, is what I'm saying. So the church blames the Speakers for the reason that Dracula has come in. We cut away to just a pub in a different town, or a tavern, I guess. Sorry, my eyes. Ooh. Alright, sorry. Okay, so we kind of cut away to a tavern, and there are these people that are talking about some stuff that is just gross and stupid. But they also start talking about the fact that Dracula is terrorizing this town. And there's a person that overhears what they're talking about, and the people keep talking, saying that the reason that Dracula is here causing all this terror is actually because of the Belmont family. This sort of kind of ancient family that dealt in black magic and hunted monsters. And the man that is overhearing this entire conversation these people are having is a Belmont. This is where we meet our main character, Trevor Belmont. This is in the second episode, by the way. There's 4 episodes total for this season, and we're only introduced... Well, we're introduced to Trevor at the end of the first episode, but he really becomes the main character in the second episode. Excuse me, my collar seems to want to hang low today. That didn't help. Okay, we're going to put my pendant there, and we're just going to do that. Okay, there. Better. So, Trevor Belmont confronts the people and gets into a bar fight, basically, and then decides to go to Greenwich, saves one of the speakers that was turned to stone in Dracula's castle. The two of them, the speaker being Sypha, and she's a magician. She uses all sorts of sorcery, and so she joins Trevor on his quest to stop Dracula. They meet up with another character. I won't give away who this one is, and they all team up and they decide, okay, we have to stop Dracula. And that's the end of the season. So, this might be a bit of a short review, I'm not sure. Well, geez, we're already to 8 minutes, at least on my recording. That's probably not the actual video length right now, but, so, Castlevania was good. I will say this: it's good. It's great animation. It can be very vulgar and very like gory. So if you're not into that stuff, like if you're not into the F-bomb being dropped like a lot, you're not gonna like this. If you don't like seeing body parts being like dismembered and stuff, you're not gonna like this. Obviously, you know, I suppose the show doesn't have to be very violent, but when you have a character called Vlad the Impaler, obviously it's gonna get pretty graphic and gross and stuff. So that's that. I'm okay with that, honestly, but that's just kind of a warning for you. One thing I do like about this season is the fighting. The fight scenes are really good. And honestly, it's because it feels like each punch means something. Like when Trevor punches a guy, or someone punches him, or Trevor slams a guy's head into a table, it freaking hurts. People are actually hurt. They don't just kind of brush it off and then keep fighting. It's like, no, stuff actually hurts. Like when someone gets their finger cut off, they're in pain. They don't just they're like, oh no, my finger. Well, gotta keep fighting. It's like, no. There is a realistic level of pain in this series that I kind of appreciate, because, yeah, if you get punched, you're not gonna brush it off easily. It's a punch to the face, obviously. Or when there's a couple times where Trevor Belmont is kicked in the nuts. That's gonna hurt, obviously. He might brush it off a little too fast, but I'll just chalk that up to he's a warrior. He can take that. Maybe he had something to help, like a cup or something down there to help him. But even still, that wouldn't... it doesn't matter. But it does physically hurt him. It really hurts him. He's out for, a little bit to recover from a kick like that. So that is a good thing about this. And honestly, the story is pretty good in this. The only thing I'll say is that there's not much of a... Honestly, there's not really a good reason for this this conflict between Trevor Belmont and Dracula. Dracula is, wreaking havoc on this town because of the church. Trevor Belmont is trying to stop these night creatures and trying to stop Dracula to save the innocent people. But he knows that this is all the church's fault. Honestly, the church is really painted as the biggest enemy here. It's strange. The church is clearly painted as a villain in this. Dracula is painted as a villain. But he's almost sympathetic. Like, you understand why Dracula's doing this. They burned his wife at the stake because they thought she was a witch. Obviously, he's going to be pissed about that. So, you understand, but at the same time, you can't just, let it go. Like, you're not saying, well, this is all totally justified. What's the problem here? Why is Trevor Belmont going to stop? It's like, no. There are innocent people. It's really the church that did this, not these innocent people. And basically, Dracula wants to destroy all of humanity for this. And obviously, from the beginning, he's not really, a redeemable character. He is a pure bad guy when especially if you know the history of Vlad the Impaler. Obviously, this guy he's not a good guy. Adding on top of that, adding the mythos of Dracula onto Vlad the Impaler, he's a bad guy. He's a bad guy, obviously. If he's wreaking havoc on this town, it makes sense for Trevor Belmont to go and stop him. But I don't know. But there's no... I don't know. It's almost like there's two villains in this. There's the church, and then there's Dracula. We kind of deal with the church in this season. I'd imagine they could bring them back in Season 2, but I feel like we're kind of done with the story of the church being evil. And the next season, or next couple seasons, depending on how long this goes, will be about fighting Dracula. So that's pretty much that. The other complaint I would give about Castlevania is it's too short. I mean, again, we meet Trevor Belmont at the end of the first episode, and they really, the team sort of gets together, they form a team and go off to fight Dracula, but that's the end of the fourth episode. I feel like there should have been more here. In fact, I thought, because of how long each episode is, I thought this was just a movie that they split up into 4 episodes. And that each season would, cover a different Belmont from the games. Like, the next one would be Simon Belmont from the original game. The next one would be Richter Belmont. The next one would be Alucard. But no, for right now, we're kind of just focusing on Trevor Belmont. So, yeah, it's kind of hard to say because it's this was good. It was really good. I'm looking forward to where Castlevania is going next. On the other hand, I just don't feel like I was given a complete season. And to know that I have to wait until 2018 for Season 2 kind of sucks. Come on, we just got to the story. Let's go. But that's pretty much that. Again, overall, it is good. Is the camera out of focus? In focus? I don't know. It kind of looks out of focus, but whatever. Anyway, yeah, that is pretty much that. End cards are going to pop up right about now. You can click on those. You can follow 7th Hour Films on Twitter at 7th Hour Films. It's right there in case you misspell it. And that is pretty much it. I'm Alex from 7th Hour Films, and I will see you guys next time. Take care.